Hi guys, it's Aaron from Team Psyqualia again, and today I shall be doing a deck profile on my Amaterasu Oracle Think Tank deck. So let's get started. First off, we had the starter, which is Supple Bamboo Princess Kaguya. She can help Silent Tom get up to 11,000, and also can make Susano hit for 15,000 if you've got an Amaterasu Vanguard. So she's a pretty good versatile starter, I think. Probably one of the better ones out there. Next up, the triggers. I'll explain the trigger lineup. I am going for 6 critical, 6 draw and 4 heal. So the first off with the criticals are 4 Psychic Bird. Personally, I feel any Oracle Think Tank deck should be running 4 Psychic Bird, purely because of just what it does, where it allows you to draw a card by moving it into Soul from the rear guard circle. It's also a 10k shield, and it's all round a pretty good card to sort of help thin out your deck, speed things up. Very good card. Next up, we have 2 Battle Sister Ginger. Nothing much to say other than the fact that she fills up the other 2 critical slots, and she's 5,000 if you ever really do need to boost with her. Next up, we have the first 4 of the draw triggers, and that being 4 Dream Eater. I personally prefer Dream Eater over Miracle Kid, just purely because of art choice. It just looks more appealing to me. That's 4 of them. Next up, we have 2 Victory Maker. Same reason as Dream Eater, I actually prefer this artwork over Miracle Kid. Just think Miracle Kid is just such an ugly card. Sorry if I've offended anyone, if anyone out there likes it, but it's just not to my taste. Next up, and last but not least of the grade zeros and triggers, we have 4 heal in the form of Sphere Magus. She's an exact replica of what Lozenge Magus does, where you can also ride her and use her as a starter if need be. When she boosts, she gives an extra 3,000, so she can boost for 6, and she returns to the deck at the end of the phase, at the start of the end phase of that turn. Okay. Next, we are going on to grade 1s, and to kick things off, we are using 4 Battle Maiden Sayurihime. I personally feel any deck that has the ability to run these cards where you gain 3,000 when it attacks, and you've got a certain Vanguard with a name in, I feel you should run 4 of them, purely because not only when you're low on grade 2 or 3 attackers, she can quite comfortably be in like the front row, and also be attacking alongside the other higher power units that have better effects. So she's quite versatile, back row, front row, even guarding, it doesn't matter, she's good everywhere. Not to mention that she's actually 7,000, so it's actually pretty decent attack anyway. Next we have the Perfect Guard of the Clan, 3 Battle Sister Chocolat. Anyone who knows me knows that I really dislike running 4 Perfect Guards, but it may work in certain decks like Grand Blue, Musketeers for Neo Nectar, purely because it does help their boss units later on in the game. But I just feel with the hand that Oracle Think Tank generates, you can generate guard without even using Chocolat. So Chocolat is literally only used for like key moments where you know you can't waste all the cards in your hand. Next up, we have 3 Oracle Guardian Gemini. It's the 8k grade 1 vanilla of the clan. It just sort of like helps Tom hit for 16, so it makes them 11k Vanguards drop them at least 10,000, using like grade 1 and above, obviously, because of what Tom does. He also helps Susano hit for 20,000 if you've got an Amaterasu Vanguard. It's just a general all-round good, strong booster. Next up, we have what I like to think as a tech choice for Oracle Think Tanks. 2 White Hair of Inaba. purely because of watching the anime and seeing Misaki ride Goddess of the Sun and then calling this to rearguard, placing a CEO into Soul from her hand. It just makes the cross ride faster. If you have to ride Inaba first turn, then you play CEO and Soul if you've got one. Then it just makes riding to Goddess of the Sun that bit much faster. And being at 6k, it's okay as a booster. You just don't really want to be putting it behind stuff like Tom where it only hits 14k, so it's more sort of like behind Susano where it can hit for 18 still, so it's not too bad, but you use it more for its skill than its boosting. And last but not least of the grade 1s, we have our 10k booster of the clan, which is Weather Girl Milk, purely because of what her ability is. So before she boosts, if you have 4 cards in hand, she will give an extra 4,000 power to the Vanguard, so she'll be boosting for 10,000, which when she's boosting CEO Amaterasu, she can go up to 24,000 because of her own ability, or Goddess of the Sun, she can go up to 23,000. So it's actually pretty good. She can help hit numbers, so that's pretty much why you use her. With sort of like 10k boosters, I don't really like to run more than 2 in any kind of deck, purely because sometimes with Milk, her downside is that you have to kind of maintain at least 4 cards in hand. So sometimes I may switch out and use Gemini behind the Vanguard, purely because I know it's going to be a solid 8k every turn. And even with Goddess of the Sun, it can reach 21, which is still good. So that's the last of the grade 1s. Now we're on to the grade 2s. And to kick things off with this section is for Battle Deity Susano. Like I mentioned earlier, I feel you should run 4 of this kind of card in any kind of deck if you've got the access to them, obviously, because I don't think every clan's got them yet. At the Open Regional Qualifier in Sheffield that just happened this weekend, I did actually attack the game with a Susano and actually had it powered up to 33,000 from 2 trigger checks, boosted by Gemini, and also helped out by Kaguya. So it can make a cross ride card drop a lot of guard purely because of how high it can actually reach. So it's actually a really, really good card. So I would urge you to run 4 of this. Next up, we have the card everybody knows and loves, except Max and Dale on the team. It's Silent Tom. He has the most unique ability in the game. So for those who don't know, obviously, when he attacks, your opponent cannot guard with great zeros in their hand, meaning they're going to have to drop at least 2 cards from their hand in order to stop a Silent Tom attack. When he's boosted by Gemini, it just makes them drop a lot more, because you know they're either going to have to drop 2 or 3, maybe even more cards to stop his attack if he's got trigger boosts. So if your Vanguard has been perfect guarded, you plus all the trigger boosts if you've got any onto Tom, so it just makes them guard a lot more harder or drop a lot more cards from their hand. So it's just probably one of the best cards in Oracle Think Tank to date. Next we have 2 Oracle Guardian Wiseman. I do like this card. It may just be a 10k vanilla, but if you ride him in Vanguard, it sort of makes your opponent either have to ride their 10k Vanguard or either place stuff into rearguard and waste 10k Vanguards. Basically, it's a little bit harder to get over with stuff like the ride chains, like the Magatsu ride chain, purely because their rearguards are only going to be hitting for 9k if they don't have any boosters behind it. Next up, and last but not least of the grade 2s, we have 2 Maiden of Libra. Now, she was released all the way back in set 1, and I feel she works quite well in this deck to either pressure the opponent purely because of her ability, to allow you to draw cards faster. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, when her attack hits, it doesn't even have to be a Vanguard, it can be a rearguard. You can counterblast 2 and draw 1 card. Now, some people might think that's a little bit too much for counterblasting just for 1 card, but people will guard it purely because they know you're going to add an extra card to your hand besides drive checks and draw triggers possibly. so she's actually a good pressure card if need be, and people will sometimes attack her just purely because knowing what she does. Next on to the grade 3s, we have 4 CEO Amaterasu. These ones here are the alternate art from Extra Booster 5 Celestial Valkyries. I did actually have to change these ones out because my booster set ones did actually get quite a few curves in them. For people who don't know, when you have 4 cards in hand, at any point during your turn, including drive checks, she will go up another 4,000, so she'll end up going up to 14k. And her soul charge ability is where you soul charge the top card of your deck, then you get to peek at the next card of your deck and choose whether you want it at top or bottom. So she's actually very good at either cycling cards around or predicting what you're going to get next. See whether it's possibly worth better drawing with cards like Psychic Bird maybe. And then her Mega Blast ability, which I'm sure most people know, is you counter blast 5, soul blast 8, and you can draw up to 5 cards if her attack hits, whether it be a Vanguard or Rearguard. So she's actually very, very powerful guard, and some people most of the time will end up guarding her if they know you've got 8 in soul. Like I said with Milk, she can go up to 24,000 on an attack. And last but not least, we have 4 Goddess of the Sun Amaterasu. Now this card was released all the way back in set 9, which is not actually that long ago, funny enough. In the format of the Open Regionals in Sheffield that was recent, that I actually attended, people did actually guard her a lot. I don't think I actually got a successful attack through with her, purely because of what her limit break ability is, where you have 4 or more damage. When her opponent, when her attack rather hits a Vanguard, I can count blast 2 and add any Oracle Think Tank card from deck to hand. So yeah, that's pretty important, purely because you can literally add Chocolat, you can add key cards like Silent Tom, so you can set up for next turn. So people will guard her purely because they know what may come next turn. And plus she's the cross-ride unit, so she will go up to base 13,000 if cross-ridden properly or used with the Inaba trick. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole lot of the deck profile, and that's the end of it. Please do comment, rate, like and subscribe it, and tell me your views, maybe even build this deck, use this exact same build and tell me how you felt it went. Also, we do have 2 new people joined. Max, who's actually already uploaded his deck profile for his top 64 Aqua Force profile that was at the UK Nationals, or the Open Regional Qualifier I should say rather. And there's also a new person called Dale, which I'm most likely going to ask him to record his Dragonic Overlord stand build, which is actually quite interesting. So yeah, I'll probably mention that and put a link in the video and mention in the descriptions. So yeah, like I said, comment, rate, like, subscribe, even share it around and show everyone you know. Okay, so see you laters.